guys.
So what is the difference? But first, what is knit and crochet? Both knit and crochet are really old techniques of stitching yarn or different fibers together to create a project. They require hand and eye coordination and lots of patience. Children who knit or crochet from young ages strengthen and develop their fine motor skills. Knitting and crochet are also good therapy for persons who suffer with anger management and other health issues. The most noticeable difference between knitting and crochet are the tools that are used. Knitting uses needles, which has a point at the end. Crochet uses a needle, yes, but with a hook on the end. There are some different types of knitting needles, like circular needles, which you will see here if you follow my arrow, and double pointed needles. Circular needles and double pointed needles are used when you want to do seamless projects. When we say seamless projects, what we mean is that if you are making an item, you would not have to then sew it up after you've finished knitting it. So it would have no seam in it at all. Knots and loops. In knitting, the stitches form a V shape. In crochet, the stitches are more like knots. In knitting, you basically have two types of stitches, knit stitches and purl stitches. These stitches are mixed and matched in different ways to create a diverse set of stitches and patterns. These stitches are formed in rows and the active stitches are held on the knitting needle itself. On the other hand, crochet has a wide variety of stitches that you can use, and the stitches are formed one at a time, eliminating the need to have the active stitches on the crochet hook. Crochet stitches are, for the most part, more intricate stitches than knitting, but despite this, crochet is much faster than knitting. So just so you have a picture of this guy that I'm making, he has a ribbon here because I've got the space marked for the features, but this guy here is knitted in the round. See, there is no seam at all. He's knitted in the round, his body, all the way up to his head, and then the arms are knitted separately also in the round, but then they're sewn onto the body. The yarn. There is the belief that the finer yarns are used for crochet only. This is not true, as both crochet hooks and knitting needles come in a variety of sizes, from small to large, to accommodate the sizes of the different types of yarns and fibers. So you can crochet with super fine yarn, or you can crochet with super bulky yarn. You can knit with super fine yarn, or you can knit with super bulky yarn. However, there are some yarns or fibers that are loosely wound, and using a hook may not be quite suitable. There are some fluffy yarns as well, we call those novelty yarns, that you can knit or crochet them into an item or product as well. These ones would be very difficult to tell whether they're knit or crochet because they are fluffy, you may not be able to see the stitch pattern. Another example I have is this cat I made. I know you can't see the whole thing, but if you look, you can see that it's a fluffy kind of yarn that looks like fur, but you can't tell whether it's been knit or crochet because you can't see the stitch pattern. Okay? Different types of crochet and knitting. There are different types of crochet. Irish crochet or Irish lace crochet or Irish crochet lace, as I have found it to be called, is basically a very thick and also very old style of crocheting, technique of crocheting, and it's like several layers. And this is the crochet that would have been used many years ago to make appliques and probably placemats and posters and those kind of things, because they would come out to be very, very firm, and they wouldn't need to be starched or backed or some sort of firming agent in them like what we do now with the regular crochet. And then there's freeform knit and crochet. Freeform crochet or freeform knit is just as it sounds, free form. So it's not a set pattern, a set of stitches that you're going to use to create something. If you look here on the left side of your screen, you will see several items, and you'll see that they don't have like one set of stitch patterns being used to create the item. And then we have Tunisian crochet. Tunisian crochet is done with a very long hook, a longer hook than a regular crochet hook. And these stitches are on the needle of the hook, just like knitting. And it gives a deceiving impression that the fabric created was done using knitting techniques. Machines. These are pictures of various knitting machines. Some are simple and affordable. Others are more complicated and expensive. To date, there are no machines that can replace the type of crochet that is done by hand. This makes crochet unique. There are knitting machines that can make knit items on a large scale to be sold in stores. The same is not true of crochet. If you see a crochet item in a store, you should know that that item was made by hand by someone somewhere in the world. It was not made by a machine. So, knit or crochet. These pictures are deceivingly easy, because if you look, you will see that the picture on the right, the needle has a point, and the picture on the left, the needle has a hook. And the stitches are on the hook, so that would also tell you what kind of crochet that is. So, now that I've given you all the information about knit and crochet and the differences, here's a test for you. Is my hat knit or crochet?